Welcome to another episode of last week's Comics Today. I've got a pretty substantial stack of comics here. This is more than double what I picked up in the last 2 weeks, so let's jump straight into it. Mark Millar is very hit or miss for me. I've loved Matteo Scalera from Uncanny X-Force onward. What I tend to do with Millar's new series is get the first issue, see whether or not I'm going to like it, because it tends to be very love or hate. This is super dumb. I haven't encountered something this dumb since Joe Mad was working with Jeff Loeb. I mean, this is... I don't think I've ever complained about lettering either, but this is some of the worst lettering I've ever seen. I want to show you this sequence. Alright, so we've got... Well, for one... Alright. So here we start off with guns firing. He then jumps off of a roof. He's still shooting. I don't understand this panel at all. Like, if he jumped off the roof, how is he that close to something? Doesn't matter. So he's shooting all the way down as he's falling off of a skyscraper. We see it there. And he somehow lands and is fine. He lands inside of an ambulance. He's fine. Still shooting. All he's got is 2 pistols. He shot at least 50 bullets so far. I counted. There's at least 18 shots here, depending on whether you're counting these flares or those. But, I mean, this one panel, as he's falling, is at least 18 shots. All he's got is 2 pistols. That's not even what I'm complaining about. So, there is this 2 pages, right? So, stab in the hand. Slash across the chest. He's planting a bomb. Bomb explodes. Sliding down a hill. Lands on a taxi. The one sound effect we get in this 2-page spread is as he rolls over on the hood of a taxi. This is dumb as hell. Do not get this. Someone hopefully will make a better adaptation of this like they did with Wanted, which was an incredibly stupid comic, but a pretty good movie. Before I move on. So I've complained about it being dumb. However, the art looks great. I mean, again, Scalera is masterful. Just look at this last page. It's not a spoiler. Here we go. Let's look at this. The guy's still amazing. I wish he wasn't working with Millar, and I will check out whatever he works on next. Sir Edward Grey, Acheron. So this is a one-shot, and I just want to show you this real quick. Oops. So we will be getting more, and already couldn't be happier. So Sir Edward Grey in general takes place before anything else from the rest of, well, mostly anything else in the rest of the Hellboy universe, but this takes place after everything else. So this is after Hellboy in Hell, after BPRD, Hell on Earth, all of that. And it is very interesting. I've been interested in Edward Grey for a long time. He's the Witchfinder. I thought some of what was going on in his miniseries was extremely interesting. It fleshes out the world, shows how certain things are set up. I don't think he's gotten a miniseries recently enough. I'm sort of waiting for him and for more Lobster Johnson. This is good, recommended, and I hope this is a mini-series and not another one-shot, because a lot happens here, but I want more. Give me more, please. Redneck 31, so this is the first issue of the last story arc of Redneck. I think it's ending with 36, if I remember correctly. And much like he did with Baby Teeth, it starts like this. So we have a huge time jump between where the series left off, and that was months ago. I feel like I kind of need to go back and reread that, because there was a war that was kicking off. But this is good. It's certainly not a jumping on point, but if you haven't been reading Redneck, I highly recommend it. It's been a fantastic read from beginning to almost end. Human Target issue 2. This is Chance and Ice, but he's dying, right? That's the whole setup for the series is he's dying, he's trying to solve his own murder, and in this issue he's hanging out with Ice, and it feels like the whole time he's wasting a day. It does come together at the end why he's doing it, but the whole time I was wondering, why is he seemingly wasting a day just hanging out with her? It's really well told, and I'm going to show you this too. So some of it is like this, which reminds me of what Brubaker was doing in Kill or Be Killed, or sometimes Remender does in Deadly Class. It's a way of throwing in some extra story without the traditional like panel count. So it's good, but like most of King's stuff, you're not going to know whether or not the series is good overall until it's concluded, because a bunch of stuff is going to be, I mean, the final issue always ties the whole thing together. So it's very well told. It's just, there was a lingering question the whole time while I was reading it of, why is he doing this? The Robin annual is almost entirely skippable. It, in fact, is skippable. We get an origin story for Flatline, we see a tiny story for Ravager, and we get some of these like secret files type one-page things about a couple of the side characters. It's extra material if you're really into the series, but for $6 it should have been better. Should have been something more. There is an epilogue that I'm sure is going to show up very soon in the main story, but we come back to what he was doing a few issues back. So I don't know. It's, don't waste your money. Firepower 18 is very good. Things come to a head. Things get worse for all of our main characters. I do hope at some point that they do an oversized collection, because I think some of the art deserves to be seen larger than standard comic size. There's something happens in here that I'm not going to show off, but it, I think, deserves to be seen larger, as I said. This also, in the back matter, tells you that they are going on hiatus until April, so maybe that explains how. I mean, they've said before, I can't even show you the page, because there's a spoiler on the opposite page. So, in the back, they talk about going on hiatus until April, and they suggest reading Jonah and the Impossible Monsters, which I do as well. So, yeah, it continues to be really good, looks gorgeous. I don't know how our main characters are going to get out of this new predicament. Once in Future 22, so I just want to show you this. There is a knight riding a lion, and it looks absolutely fantastic, and the lion is also fire breathing. If you are not reading this, you are making a mistake. End of story. The Me You Love in the Dark, issue 5. This is the final issue, and I want to show you one thing out of context. Just look at this. I mean, that's horrifying. But that's sort of the least of what's going on here, because a lot of, so this issue, and especially last issue, a lot of what is happening is psychological, and it is so well told. It's gorgeously rendered. I love every second of this. I kind of hope some tiny art house studio buys the rights to this, makes an adaptation, because I'd love to experience it again. But also, this is happening, and already I'm excited for this. So, more Scotty Young stories next year, and already that looks like a lot of fun. Coming 22. It's really good. I recommend it. There should be a collection coming out, well, since it started December, should be next year. But absolutely get the collection when it comes out. Batman the Detective issue 6, this is also a final issue, and it is dumb. It's been dumb for a couple of issues, but I finished it anyway. And yeah, it doesn't get better. So if you haven't been reading this, skip the whole damn thing. Hellboy, The Bones of Giants, issue 2. I previously mentioned that I bought this series. I added it to my pull list on accident. And I'm just going to keep going. It's only 4 issues. But I also recommended that you grab the novel or the audiobook that I I got the audiobook, but it's a lot of fun, and I don't think I had a mental voice for Hellboy before. If I did, it would have been Ron Perlman, and now as I read this, I'm hearing the audiobook narrator. So he is really good. I've gotten, I think, 3 or 4 of those. There's one guy who's great, and I will put his name down there, but get this, it's great. Any week with Hellboy is a great week. Campisi issue 4, another final issue. This is solid. It's hard to tell with AfterShock in particular whether or not series are going to continue. There tend to be, in my experience, a sort of conclusion that also could lead into more. It's like certain modern movies where they're hoping for a sequel, and they sort of leave it open with that potential. It's solid. I enjoyed it. Chew issue 10. This is the last issue of the She Drunk History story arc, where she has been time traveling thanks to a somewhat magical bottle of wine. This has been, Chew is always entertaining. This has been great, and by the end of this, there is a setup for what comes next. So it's, I want to show you, let me see if I could find it. I should have prepped this ahead of time, but there is a particular panel in here. Here we go. So, right, we've got this whole 2-page spread, right, epilogue, and in the tiny corner up here, I just love this attention to detail. Like, it's fantastic. I love it. It's well told. The art is phenomenal. Recommended. And as always, get the first Chew series as well. Avengers 50 or 750, depending on how you or Marvel are deciding to count this month. So it is $10, and there is a bunch of names on the back, some of which are repeated, which I don't fully understand, but whatever. I've been thinking about this, trying to figure out how to describe it, and the best thing that I can come up with is this is sort of a recap plus a trailer for things to come. It's not really a story by itself, and I almost decided on clip show, except a clip show at least has a framing device where you see snippets of things and there's a loose framework that connects it together. This has no framework. This is just, it's several different things that are happening somewhat at the same time, but like here we'll get, I don't know. There's things happening in the past. There are things happening, multiple things happening in the present, and like it just jumps between them randomly, and it doesn't really stick with anything. I don't know. It's bad. I was interested in this because of the story in the Free Comic Book Day issue, and I thought things were going to be interesting, and this is just a mess. It's not good. I was reading Jason Aaron's Avengers up through somewhere in the 20s. I think I finished the Star Brand story arc, and it hasn't improved. Nothing here is enticing me to give more money to them. And I think he's got 2 Avengers books starting, Avengers Forever and continuing with just plain Avengers. I don't know. This is, let me see if it's at the back here. Yeah, Avengers Forever #1 and Avengers 51. There's no reason to read either one of those if this is any indication. And wow, it's a mess. Do not get this. And that is it for the week. There are some highs, there are definitely some lows. Let me see. So this is contender for Book of the Week for sure. Firepower is quite good. Human Target is excellent. Redneck is great. And this is just awful. Do not waste your money on this. So yes, I'm gonna go with Me Love in the Dark as my pick of the week. It is fantastic as always. Loved it. And that's been it. As always, I get my books from a local comic shop. If you don't know where yours is, you can use this URL to find the one closest to you. Thanks for watching.